I'm reading your book, and one of the things you say is that your services are worth more if you use AI. They're not worth less. And I think that's surprising to a lot of people. So if you could expand on that.
Absolutely. And that is so crucial to our continued success in all the knowledge professions whether you're a graphic designer or a writer, content manager, translator, editor, and many, many, many other things too, that the scope of that is increasing. There are sort of two ways that AI actually, if you really think about it from an economic perspective, there are two ways that it increases your value, or at least two. The first one is that if you are able to get a deliverable back to your client a little bit faster because AI somewhere along the way was useful to you, then they are already getting greater value. So they're already getting more value for their dollars. So for example, I hired a book designer and I'm sure that she uses AI in some form because to not use AI today, it's like it's so useful for creating a mock-up of your book, right? But
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah,
okay
done
with
it a
that
lot.
because I'm going to pay the same thing that I paid before she was probably using these tools. But instead of waiting, I don't know, 5 days, I might get it in 1 day. That's
Yeah.
worth a lot when you're on a schedule, right? And a lot of the
Mhm.
service professions are all about how fast you can get it to the client. So this is something I often tell clients, which is when you hire me, I may use AI or I may not. When I use it, that means you're probably going to get the thing that you asked for faster at no extra charge. So, you're not going to find that in many sectors. I'm going to get that for you because I care about you that much. So that's the first thing is the time. You have to see the time as not something it's not something cheap. It's something very valuable to the client that they're gonna get
Mhm.
faster turnaround. And then the corollary to this that has really been underexplored, I feel, today in talk about AI is that in many cases, the real benefit of using AI is not saving time because it doesn't always save time. But if you prompt it more strategically, then you can actually produce a better outcome or a better output.
Mm.
So in the same amount of time, you can produce something better. So a simple example of this is if a client comes to me and they've got a client in mind that they want to go after, like they'd like to work for doctors, they'd like to work for lawyers, they'd like to work for nonprofits, whatever. Instead of taking
Yeah.
hours to conduct lengthy market research on Google, and it's very hard to aggregate data, although there are sites that can help in some sectors. There are some things that are really invisible to the algorithms if you just do a Google search. But with AI, there are fact check AIs. So if you prompt it correctly and you know exactly who your ideal clients are, you can then go to it and get a very detailed list of what clients would be effective and why and where they're located and even who to get in touch with. So let's say I'm producing a plan for my client. Um, I'm probably saving time, but also when I give them the deliverable they asked for, which is a market study, I can say I
Mhm.
was able to get information from this source and that source, and I've got my list all made up. And so it would have been extremely onerous to do that manually, but I'm adding
Absolutely.
value. And I can also prompt it effectively to say things like, hey, what micro niches have I not thought about?
Yeah.
So this is really,
That's
really where
excellent.
AI has added value.
And even for something simpler, like I ghostwrite books for clients, and I recently ghostwrote a book for a Navy SEAL, and he had a huge presence, like YouTube, his website, like all over the internet. And I use it as an aggregator to just gather all those links in one place and then put them into a document, so I didn't have to be
Right.
like searching for where to find him all the time. Because as a ghostwriter, and this ties in with AI too. It's very important. You have to be able to write in someone else's voice, and in order to
Right.
do that, you have to really read a lot of their content, interview them, which I do a lot. But you really need to gather all this information. So I find it really helpful for that as well. So
Absolutely. That makes
yeah,
perfect sense to me. And I think that ghostwriters still have a very bright future. There are so many people, I'm sure you're aware of this, but there are a lot of apps and people online saying, write your book in one click.
yes,
I completely disagree with that approach. I think it's the wrong approach. I think that I don't know about you, I wouldn't want to read a book written by ChatGPT. I want to read about someone's personal experience. It's just not the same when it's a machine and it might be fluid, but you can tell, slop is slop and someone pouring
exactly.
their life out on the page is someone pouring out on the life page. And we can tell